been sat under my bench collecting dust. I've got 4 rails to cut, 4 wardrobe rails. Got an offcut here. Now I was cutting them with a hacksaw, but cutting them square and without too much of a burr isn't easy. Don't do a bad job, but a little while ago I treated myself to this for the sole purpose of cutting those. But it says it cut metal, and I used it to cut some coach bolts and I've lost a few teeth on it. So I got to buy a new blade. £29, they're not cheap. This one's got 24 teeth, I think. Yeah, 24 teeth. So I'm going to swap it over, and I'm only going to use this for cutting wardrobe rails in future. That was hard to get undone. Right, I'm going to take it outside, give it a go. I don't want metal shavings inside here. That's good, nice and clean. Sometimes I might cut these a millimetre or two too long. Then you got to file it off. Let's see if I can just take a fraction off the end. Yeah, that took just a fraction off, a millimetre or two. That's all it'll be doing now. Cutting wardrobe rails, little things like that, skinny metal. That's what I bought it for. Doors have gone back on. Start getting the kickboards on the top. Get the wardrobe rails in and I'm done. That one looks like it's pushed into this corner a little bit. That edge could have done with being a bit fatter. A little bit of movement on there. Nothing on there. Right, I cut it very slightly longer than I need to. It's hard up at that end. But now I can set my compass to that distance. You see you've got a gap at the top, but it's tight at the bottom. I don't like that, you know, if you just cut it to the exact length and cut it square, that's what you end up with, like. That's what you end up with, so I prefer to try and scribe that bit. So I'll set my compass to that. So we've got about that now. And I'll scribe that in. This thing gets on my nerves a little bit. I'll scribe that in there. And although I don't like that tapering gap, I don't mind if there's a little gap there. So I want this corner to be as hard up against here as I can. I prefer to have a gap there, no gap there, rather than the other way around. Once that's back, I can do the same at that end to push that over. And I'm going to cut this from behind with jigsaw. And I've got an edge and a face. So you normally want to try and cut into the face rather than starting at that side and then this side breaking out. you see it's pretty much hard up at this end. I need to scribe that one now. This one's a little awkward. When I'm stood here like that, I can't see my pencil line. So I'm going to have to cut it up like that. So I've cut that with a knife. Hopefully it doesn't break out too much. Nice. That's good. I'm guessing something isn't square, but that'll push over there. I'll get some glue on it. And I don't mind this gap, so let's pack it up a little bit there. I think the carpet will cover that. Carpet man might even like that, he can tuck his carpet under. It's whether I stick a couple of pins in or not, right at the bottom to hold it in place. I'm going to stick it on with this stuff. I know it sticks well and it swells up a little bit, so if there's any little gap I should get a good stick. I had to put 1 or 2 in the top just to close that gap up. There's a little gap there. I don't know. Might put a bit of filler in those and paint them. Or I might just ignore them. Right, this is the top piece to go around there. I could take it, it's wider than that gap is, so I'd have to take the doors off and clamp it to that, and then the ceiling's got a dip in it like that. But I'm sick of taking these doors off and on, off and on. So I'm going to measure that gap, measure that gap, measure that gap, measure that gap. Mark it on my timber, cut it to that. So that's my line. I measured 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then joined the dots. I put a new blade in, a chunky blade. This is classed as a rip cut going along the grain. Jigsaw blades are not dissimilar to circular saw blades. You want a rip blade, you want one with just a few teeth and plenty of gaps between for the waste to clear. It'll be fun when I get to that corner, but and this end I can cut to about there, but then I've got to cut from the outside, so I'll put some masking tape on. Hopefully I don't trash that corner. And I've got to hold it quite steady, so I don't want to break that joint. Cuts don't line up, but don't care. Little dimple in that end. Face is alright, it's a little dimple in that end. Right, it's not bad. It's near enough for me to scribe it. I'm going to lose that corner and scribe it along the ceiling there to the same distance, and then I'll run the planer along it, or the jigsaw, and cut it to shape. So that's my scribe line, you just see it there. That does go up. I'll get some glue and pins in it, like I did the skirting. I'll do the same to this one. Right, same as last time, I've cut it to roughly fit, and then I put a couple of packers on top of the doors, so that's sat on there, and if I can hold that, stay. I've set my calipers to that distance, I've set my compass to that distance, so that should raise it up by that, so I'll scribe that along the top of there. I get hanging rails in. I need to do something about that. Make that fit better. Put a piece of tube in there maybe. but I trashed this blade straight away, the old blade, cutting those coach bolts, which probably aren't mild steel. I bet it says something about mild steel in the instructions that I never read. So, a couple of bits of wood, it's a lot more stable now. And a super smashing cut. Right, I've got my pencil mark here. That's where the rail's going to go, that's where my top screw's going to go. And that way around, put the little catch underneath, the little bolt underneath. What I like to do is, imagine this is the top of the wardrobe, so it's there. Often you can't get your screwdriver in to tighten that top screw up, so start your screw. These are only 3/4 inch screws. It's a 3/4 inch board, there's pointless putting anything bigger in. Right, so you've made your screw hole. And then put the tube in the other side. Oh, not forgetting to put that on. There we go. Imagine you've got your top here. So you can turn this then and get that screw in. So imagine you've got your top, you can't get in. So get it in like that. It doesn't need to be right the way in. Then it'll swing level. You can whack them two in. It doesn't matter that that one's not totally up. Get that little screw in underneath there now, if I can. I'll get the top one in. That's as high as she can reach, so I can't put it right to the top.